Uh, Hello, dear friends. So today we continue with the story of the book "The Power of the Spirit" by Alfred Hosp or Freddy in the book. So now the story come to Freddy's girlfriend Lilo. Lilo's sister is getting married, and somehow there is a professor, Freddy's professor, who teach him so-called like theologies and then was coming to him, not very happy. And then when he came to Freddy and he said, "So Freddy, I have heard that you want to get married." And Freddy said, no, not me. Lilo's sister is getting married and we have been invited." And then Freddy was shocked. And then the professor, also the pastor, collapsed onto the chair with a sign of relief and then said something that did very deep damage to Freddy's self-esteem at that time. And the pastor said, "Thank God, Freddy. That's the explanation. For there is one thing you must take care of. Note this. Excuse me. So, for there is one thing you must take careful note of. You can never, ever make such plans for yourself. Have you understood that? Indeed, in your situation, it is a great sin before God, even to think about it." So basically, the pastor is saying it is sin for Freddy as a disabled person to get married. So that's what the book said. Personally, I don't want to be judgmental. Okay, so everybody, so we all got children. So whether we are, born in different conditions, some people disabled in some ways, we all got children. So this is the book stories back to 1950s, and then it sounds like a little strange these days. I don't believe the pastor will ever say that these days because that would be a politically incorrect. So, but from the little story, we can tell why the pastor said it is a great sin before God for disabled person to think about getting married. I personally don't see anything wrong with that. A disabled person is just another person. They're just different to us. They can get married in a way. So they have the right to choose. And then it doesn't cause any great disturbance to the society. And I personally don't see any disabled persons getting married will very negatively affect our society in any way. So there is from today's point of view, so there's almost there's no reason we should oppose such a marriage between two disabled person. So they might have a very beautiful future. Of course, some people might argue, well, in that case, we should not oppose any, marriage within homosexual, people. So that's another topic. So I don't want to discuss today, but that's just one of the arguments. And then from what the book told us, and then we can tell, there's always some dogmas, indoctrinations there. So why the pastor say it is a great sin before God, even to think about it. And then lots of times some a religious person, especially in the hierarchies, they'll believe they're very close to God. So and then we need to be very careful about our self-righteousness. And then they basically claim they speak for God, but do they really speak for God? That's the question. Okay, how good they are, how healthy they are, and then in what authority then they can represent God, saying this is a great thing before God. Has God ever deemed that situation as a sin? And often, like, I talk to my friend from church, and then I used to talk to a chaplain, so from an organization. So they all believing like God has this harsh punishments, heaven and hell. So if we don't do well, we get like sent to hell. If you don't believe, you get sent to hell. And then the fundamental question I always ask them, so why you think God punishes? She said, oh, well, if God doesn't punish, where is the justice, the justice, if there's somebody like a murderer and then somebody must be punished. So God must punish them, so otherwise there's no justice. And I normally say to them, like just friendly argument, I just say like, why God need to punish? Why God need to punish anybody? Why there's a need for God to punish? God is the creator. And then aren't we all punished by our own wrongdoings, by the Lord of Karma? Of course, like lots of people from believe in Christianity, they don't believe in karma. They basically like this is God and heaven and hell. So, and then often I will ask myself to question, okay, what you believe is what you told, okay, is it what it is right or not? Do you know? Yes, you go to the church, you go to the different like temples, like whatever the places you go, receive all these teachings. Have you ever questioned? Okay, are they right or wrong? Okay, you grew up with a different like tradition, religion, custom. Do you question like this is like right or wrong? Like the Indians, they grew up like the girls like has to pay a dowry like when they get married. And then the whole society is like social or culturally acceptable. That's why like the girls like are not in favor. I can say that because my wife is Indian. And then have you ever asked yourself? Anybody ever bother to ask themselves? Is he asking dowry is right? Okay, just because this tradition it caused so much harm, so much damage to the individuals. It just because this dowry things is such a burden to so many Indian families who have girls. Fundamental question is it all right? It doesn't serve like a purpose to benefit the community. It does not serve the purpose to benefit many families. But why we still have this tradition? People just carry on. So, oh, this is a tradition. This is culture. This is my religion. This is my ideology. But have you ever questioned like what you believe or what you are told is right or not? Just because your parents did that, just because your grandparents did that, and then you want to do that too. Is it right or wrong? And also back to the story, and then it tells me another thing is who am I to speak like for God? Who am I here to speak for God? So basically, who am I here to judge like what is sin before God or what is not? Okay, so and then again, the God punish theory, the God has to restore the justice is all us, our human beings perceive as like the punishment as justice. The God punishment, is justice. This all our perceptions, is our understanding. And then whether like is God like a way of doing things or not, we fundamentally do not know. If we do not know, how can we make that kind of like a claim or that kind of judgment? We can't. God, it's very simple. God does not punish. And then even though there's so many religions teaching us like God punish, but God does not punish because simply there's no need for God to punish. A light does not darken the place, nor love punishes. Love does not punish. The building force, the creating force does not punish. The creating force does not destroy. It just simply, it doesn't make sense. So again, so this is like from this little story of Freddy, so I learned this again, basically reinforce my understanding of this sometimes the indoctrination, the dogma of certain religious. I am myself believing the teaching of Jesus Christ, and I see Bible has lots of wisdom, especially New Testament. But I personally do not agree 100% of Bible. Of course, lots of Christians, I have lots of friends, they all say, well, Bible is absolute authority, this and that. I say, yourself should have a good understanding, and then you should hold love, okay, the love of God as your highest authority, not just merely a book. Okay, well, what I might saying might offend some people, I'm sorry. This is just my true feeling and then my understanding over the years. Okay, so most important things for the humanity is love. Okay, and how we achieve this love, how do we love people, our neighbors as ourselves? So first we must receive the love from God, and then we can pass it on. Same thing, we if we have some money, we can give it to the the homeless people. Okay, dear friends, so wish you have a good day, and God bless.